We're going to get started with our media availabilities here at Kentucky Speedway in advance of tomorrow night's Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart. We are joined by Paul Menard, driver of the number 21 Menard's Quaker State Ford with Wood Brothers Racing, who is carrying the race entitlement partner on the car. We will open up to questions for Paul. Please raise your hand and we will get a wireless microphone to you. Start over here on the left with Dustin. In the middle.
Dustin Almeida, front stretch. Paul, how would you gauge the season so far, halfway through?
It's certainly not where we want to be. Feel like we've definitely shown some speed in the races. It's a matter of putting together the entire race, something we've struggled to do. And it starts on Friday or qualifying day. The package that we're dealt this year, it's just really hard to pass. Track position is as important as it's ever been. When you qualify 15th, it's really hard to make up passes and get stage points and do the things you need to do to make the playoffs. The times that we've qualified in the top 10, we've been able to get stage points and run in the top 10 and finish in the top 10 a few times. So track position is key, and that's something that we've been working on for sure. But it's not playing out to our satisfaction. But we'll keep working on it.
We're going to stay over to the far left, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Tim Despain, Pit Stop Radio from Talladega. With you having the title sponsor of the race here, what would it mean for you and your car to be in victory lane tomorrow night for the Quaker State 400?
Yeah, it'd be huge. Quaker State and I go way back. They sponsored my family's Indy cars back in the 90s. They were on my first Legend car. I had a green Quaker State Legend car way back in the day, and they've been big supporters of me through the years, and great people. Been to Houston a few times, visiting their headquarters down there, and they have some really cool stuff that they do. With their, it's a huge company, obviously, but I was fortunate to go in the this is years ago, but I was fortunate to go back in the laboratory and see how they actually make the oil and blend the oil, and it's some a lot of really cool stuff that they do. But it's an honor, obviously, to have them here. They love Kentucky Speedway. They do a good job promoting the race, and we'll try to do them well.
We're going to come here in the middle to Bob.
Sports. The rain delays often create lots of chatter, and it seemed like I couldn't go a whole lot of places last week without people asking me what you're doing next year. So I figured I'd check and see what you're doing next year.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe people want your job. I don't know.
Yeah, do they? I got a good job, for sure. I love the Wood Brothers. I love my race team. Good people, and I've got a contract next year. So, I guess it's getting to be that time of year when people start talking about things. But I've got a contract. I love my team, and we just gotta perform better. That's all.
Additional questions for Paul?
Do what? Yeah, I mean, I guess you get enough lawyers involved, anything can happen, I guess. But that's what they get paid for.
Steve Schweitzer with Alaska Press. Paul, would you give us your opinions, thoughts on the traction compound?
Yeah, it's we're definitely using it in 3 and 4. 1 and 2, we're right on the edge of being wide open and having to lift a little bit in 1 and 2. So we haven't moved up there yet. We'll definitely be up there in the race once you get in dirty air, try to make passes. You'll be running all over the compound in 1 and 2, and definitely 3 and 4. I think it's the preferred groove up there. So I actually see it as it's going to be a benefit in 1 and 2 in the race to give you an option to pass. Where I think 3 and 4 it's going to be harder to pass because everybody's going to be up there, and to finish the pass on the bottom is going to be pretty difficult.
Go here in the middle.
Jeremy Ralph, Fox 19 Now Sports, Cincinnati. Paul, how has the track changed character since 2016 in the repave, in your opinion?
It's a little bit faster, I'd say. Definitely a lot smoother. There are some bumps that are coming back, but especially down the backstretch. The backstretch is actually getting pretty bumpy, surprisingly. It's a typical repave. It's got a lot of grip in the surface, so Goodyear has to make a durable tire, which they've done. which makes the cars kind of edgy and kind of one groove. Obviously, they put the PJ1 stuff down and seems to be making a difference. But yeah, I mean they made 1 and 2 a little bit faster than it used to be, and it's like I said, we're almost wide. We are wide open at certain times. Maybe not throughout a whole run, but we'll have some options down there for sure.
Any additional questions? Come up here to Gary.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. I guess every year you're coming to this, with this being the last 1.5 mile before the playoff, is there anything that you see with Kentucky now that can be carried into those tracks in the playoff?
I mean, it's a unique track for sure. It's not, it's not like Chicago was a couple weeks ago. I honestly compare it more to Texas than any track we go to, especially Texas 1 and 2. Very similar to the 1 and 2 here. Texas 3 and 4 is obviously a lot faster, high banked, but I think it's both recently repaved. It's kind of same surface. I think we're running the same tires between both, so there's a lot of things that I think we can take that we learn here. We can take to Texas in the fall, and the notes I've been looking at this week have been more pertaining to Texas in the spring, getting ready for Kentucky, as opposed to Kansas or Chicago or even Charlotte.
We're going to go in the back here.
Paul, Joe Daneman with Fox 19 now in Cincinnati. This is the only time of the year race fans in this area get to see you guys. So they're obviously excited to see the Cup guys here. What excites you about coming to Kentucky Speedway every year?
Years ago, I'm probably dating myself, but when I first got into the sport, this was one of the first tracks that I ran. I ran my second Busch race, the Busch Series at the time was here in 2003, I believe. And then, before the testing rules and things came into effect, we used to test here all the time. All the race teams did. So it seemed like every week or two we'd be coming to Kentucky to test. And so for me, it's kind of cool just to see the transition of, you fly into Cincinnati Airport and you drive, 30 miles down here and just seeing things grow up. We actually just put a Menard store in Florence, which is pretty cool. It just opened a couple weeks ago. Seeing the transformation of the racetrack and what it was then, what it is now, and obviously a lot of race fans in Kentucky, in this area, Ohio, Kentucky, obviously Indiana has a lot of fans, and it's a good spot for a racetrack. It's kind of central.
Go to Chris.
Yeah, Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Paul, last week you came out of nowhere from the middle of the pack to the front of the pack. I was just wondering if you could evaluate the plate racing or super speedway racing compared with the restrictor plates to now the taper spacers.
Yeah, it's different for sure. It's bigger runs. With the old package, you had to sit there and you really had to build up some momentum. Front end, depending on where you are on the track, you still had to build up momentum. This package, if you're first or second, you're pretty much wide open, can't do anything without a big push from behind. The further back you just get these huge runs, and if there's a hole, you just have to go for it. When we went to the lead last week, the 11 just latched onto my bumper halfway down the back stretch, and everybody was side drafting towards the bottom of the track, and there was a lane up top, and we just went to the front. So you just get these huge runs. It's different than what it's been. The cars are, we have a lot more downforce now, obviously, but the cars are out, I'd say, as out of control as they've ever been, just because we're all packed up, and the air disturbance with all the air coming over the car, with the air ducts in the nose. There's a lot of air disturbance that really affects. It's hard to call out. Yeah, I'm tight. Got to free me up, or I'm loose. You got to tighten me up. It does everything all at once with all the air moving around. So it's pretty interesting. Fun factor is probably higher with this package. Yeah, I'd say it's just different. I think a little bit hairier at times with this, and other times you feel like you can do a little bit more because you can get some runs. So overall, I think it's a pretty good package.
All right, Paul. Well, thanks for joining us. Good luck tomorrow night.
All right, thank you.